Me and Ricky are going to Phoenix next week, and I'm super excited because Phoenix has a few bookstores that we don't have here in Vegas. One of them is Half Price Books and the other one is Book Off. And if you have been watching for a while, I have been to Book Off in California quite a lot of times, and every time we go back to LA, we always, or at least I always, drag Ricky with me to go to Book Off because their book selection, sometimes you do get lucky and you find things that are pretty incredibly priced and still in a pretty good condition. I've been to Half Price Book only one time last year when I was in Austin, and I went on the last day when I was flying back home, so I didn't really spend a lot of time at Half Price Books, and now I can actually take my time, peruse through all of the bookshelves, and hopefully find really great treasures there. There's also this one store called Zia Records, which we do have here in Vegas. We have two of them here, but they have even more stores in Phoenix. They mostly do sell music related stuff like vinyl, cassette tapes, and CDs, but they also have a small section of used books and also some new books, I think, at least the one in Vegas that I've been to. But I want to say there are at least 4, maybe even more Zia record store in Phoenix and the surrounding area, so I cannot wait to go to a few of those when we go to Phoenix next week. But what I truly want to share in this video is some of the books that I am planning to unhaul, and the plan is to actually bring a few of these books anytime I go to one of these stores, have them buy it back, and then use the store credit or the cash or whatever it is that they usually give you for your books, and I can buy more books that I actually want to read and would read in the future. I feel like in 2025, when I first started to read more consistently, I also start book shopping a lot, especially at used bookstores, because some of these books are like $1 to maybe like $5 to $7, and they used to be like $20 to $30, $35. I feel like I just couldn't skip a book deal like that. But some of these books, actually, I never really read the back of the book, and I didn't think about it when I was buying this book last year. And whenever I redo my bookshelf, which if you don't notice, I have an IKEA bookshelf now. It used to be like this brown and black bookshelf that I got from Amazon. So this bookshelf definitely can fit a lot more books than my other bookshelf. But when I was redoing and reorganizing all of my books, I just realized how many books I actually do have that I don't think I will actually read because I'm just not that interested in this book anymore. But some of these books also I have just an extra copy of, and I feel like a lot of these books other people would probably love to read it, so I'm gonna pass it on to the next reader who would actually take care of these books and, you know, read them. I probably should also show you, I have a couple full tote bags of all of the books that I'm planning to take with me to Phoenix. And like I said, whenever I go into a bookstore or two, I'm gonna grab a few of these and then have them hopefully buy it back. And I think I'm gonna make a video when I am in Phoenix, and I wanna kind of like share which books I'm planning to bring in and how much I'm able to get from those books. And that will hopefully give you kind of like an idea if you are planning to maybe go on like a bookstore crawl, selling your old books or the books that you are unhauling, and also hopefully buy new books or used books that you would definitely would read. Anyways, I have 2 really big tote bags. One of them is this one right here, and then, oh my gosh, the other one is this red one right here. So we shall see how much I can actually get in store credits or cash. I know that sometimes when you are trying to sell your book, especially to these stores, they're not gonna really buy it for like a lot unless you want to sell it individually like on Pango or eBay. So I don't really expect a lot from these books. But anyways, enough yapping. I'm gonna show you some of the books that I have in this bag and that I'm hoping to hopefully sell next week in Phoenix. So the first one is actually a YA fantasy duology, I want to say. The first book is called Mirage, and the second one is Court of Lions. This is a duology by Somaya Daud. I picked this up on like a warehouse book sale, I think last year in Vegas, and I found the second book, I think, from Book Outlet. And like I said, I just bought it because it was on sale and it was pretty affordable. But to be honest, I don't think I will actually read these books, and I just want to pass it on to someone who would actually read it. This next one is also a duology, I want to say. I feel like they're just kind of like related, but this is a YA romance book, I want to say, written by Jessica Sutanto, and I'm pretty sure you have heard of her. I think she is actually currently on tour in the US for her latest book. I think it was called Miss Mabel Went Back to the Chopping Board or something like that. I think this actually takes place in Jakarta. That's why I wanted to maybe read it, but now that I have read a couple of her books, I don't know if I will go back to these ones. So I decided to hopefully sell it back and pass it on to someone who would actually read it. I do have this really tiny novella called Mapping the Interior by Stephen Graham Jones, and I am pretty sure this is part of the Barnes & Noble $5 cafe books from last year. Last year I was hoping to actually buy all of the books that were picked for the $5 book at Barnes & Noble, but I don't know why I picked this one, because I'm pretty sure this is a horror book or a horror novella, and I don't really read horror that much. So I'm gonna definitely pass it on to someone who would actually read it. I have this one called The Book of Two Ways by Jodi Picoult. I don't really know how to say her last name, but I still definitely want to read this book and have it in my personal library, but I'm gonna try and find the paperback version. I think I found this at Goodwill and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna grab it because I want to read it. But if you know me, I honestly just prefer paperback better than hardcovers, so I think I'm gonna try and sell this and then probably find the paperback copy of this book. So this is another book that I got from, I want to say, a library bookstore when I was in LA last year. This one is called Arsenic and Adobo by Mia P. Manansala. I think she is a Filipino-American author. I definitely wanted to read this one. I think this is kind of like a cozy mystery thriller type of book, similar to Dial A for Aunties and Finley Donovan series, I want to say. But the thing is, I got the Book of the Month version of this book, and this is actually part of a book series. I think there's at least, I want to say, 3 to 5 books in the series. However, Book of the Month only has the first book in the series in, you know, their version. So I'm going to pass this on and probably will look for either the paperback version or something elsewhere and then start reading it that way. I think I'm going to talk about these sets of books probably all together. Let me see. So these 3 books are Book of the Month books that I actually got for $1 at Book Off in Monterey Park last year. Again, I just picked them up because they're $1. I read the synopsis of the book and I don't think I will read this book anytime soon, so I'm definitely gonna try to pass this on to someone who would love to read it like as soon as possible. I feel like anytime I find a Book of the Month books at either a used bookstore or a library bookstore, I just want to grab them because sometimes at the library you can get hardcover books for like $1, and that is just so tempting. And honestly, I am trying to be better at actually reading the book synopsis first before reaching out and putting them in my shopping bag and buy it. Okay, let's see what else do I have in here. So I am going to pass this on as well to someone. This one is Well Met by Jen DeLuca. I actually read this book in January and I love this book a lot. And this is another thing about this type of Book of the Month book. This one is the first book in the series, and Book of the Month only picked the first book out of the series to be part of their choice. So I don't know if you can see, but I actually have, or maybe you cannot, it's like up here, but I do have the paperback version of this book already, and then I already bought the rest of the book in the book series in the paperback version. So I'm going to pass this on because I'm not going to keep the first book that is the completely different version of the other books in the book series. Usually I don't care, but I feel like Book of the Month book is just so distinct that if I have this and then the rest of them in paperback, it's just gonna look very weird. I feel like a lot of people actually try their best to have all of the books in the book series from the same version and the same publisher, because sometimes if you get the UK version and the US version, the publishers could be different within the 2 regions. But anyways, oh my gosh, this book I actually got from Book Outlet. I have tried reading this last year probably 2 or 3 times, but for some reason I just couldn't get into it. This one is Rewitch by Lucy Jane Wood. I really wanted to get into this, but every time I pick it up, I just, again, for some reason couldn't really get into it. So I decided to finally let it go and have someone else have it who will actually read it. I know that this book is actually part of a book series. I think the second book came out last year. Honestly, I still feel like I want to pick it up again. If you have read this book though, let me know what you think about it. I feel like I will like it, but at the same time, I couldn't read past through like the first chapter, so I'm gonna let it go. All right, let's see, what else do I have in here that I can share with you. Oh, so this book is the very first book of the month book that I purchased from my subscription that I didn't find at like a used bookstore or a library bookstore. And this one is called Andromeda by Therese Bauman, and I'm pretty sure this one was translated from Swedish. Yeah, I think she's from Stockholm, Sweden. And I tried reading them, and I even annotated the book, and I couldn't get through it. I know this is a very small book, and I feel like if I reread it again or pick it up again, I'm pretty sure I could finish it. So I don't know, I feel like this one is still a maybe. I might try and read it first before passing it to a used bookstore. I am planning to go in Phoenix, but we shall see. And if I want to sell it, I probably have to take off all of this tabs that I have. I don't think I actually mark it with like a highlighter or anything. And one of the reasons why I don't really like this book is because this book doesn't have any chapters. So from beginning to, I don't know, halfway mark, you're just basically following what the main character is talking about. We're following her thoughts, and I just don't really like that. But again, I am rethinking this now. Maybe I should just try and reread it and then maybe unhaul it the next time, not this time around. We shall see. All right, let's see, what else do I want to share with you from here. Oh, so I also have the tendency to buy this type of books. If you cannot tell, this one is a historical fiction, and these books have the World War II theme when Germany wants to occupy the whole Europe. And I don't know why I always buy this type of books. You can tell that even the cover look pretty similar to me, like there's a woman either walking away or looking at like, I don't know, a cross street or something, but like they look the same. And I don't know if I actually like the theme of World War II in a historical fiction book. I already don't really read historical fiction, and I don't think I will read these 3 books. So I think I'm gonna pass it off to someone who would actually pick it up and read it. Let's see, what else can I share with you? So this next book is actually, I think, one of the books that I won in a giveaway. It's called A Mother's Love by Sarah Bladel, and this is how the cover looks like. I did not realize that this book also is a part of a really big mystery thriller, maybe true crime series. I think this is book 6 or 7 or something, and I don't think I will read the series because I don't really read mystery thriller, true crime that often anyway. So I'm gonna pass this on to hopefully someone who reads the series and who collect maybe the physical books of this. So I found more book of the month books that I purchased from a book off, I think in Monterey Park, for like $1. Like I said, I didn't really read the synopsis of this book. I don't know if I will read them, so I'm gonna pass it on to someone who will actually read it in the near future. I think this is another one that I bought because a lot of people are kind of talking about it. This one is A Gentleman in Moscow by Amber Towles. I don't know how to pronounce the author's name. I think I got this, I don't know, for $1 at one of the thrift stores here in Vegas, and I don't know if I will read it. I'm not sure if this one is, again, around the same time as World War II. I think it's actually set in 1922, but again, to be honest, I don't think I will read this book, and I will pass it on to someone who would. And you know, some of these books that I will unhaul, if I wanted to read it, I can definitely either buy it again from a used bookstore or borrow it from Libby or, you know, my local library. So I don't feel too bad about passing it on. I feel glad almost that hopefully people who would read this book will pick it up eventually. Okay, maybe I'll share this one last one. This one is called Me But Better by Olga Kazan, and this is how the book looks like. This is actually a nonfiction book that I received from Simon Element. I decided to pass this book off because I have an extra copy. I don't know why, but the publishers sent this book twice to me, and I thought I would pass it off to someone who might actually pick it up. This one actually has a pretty interesting premise. I don't know if you call it a premise for a nonfiction book, but basically Olga, the author, is kind of doing a research, I think, on herself, on how to change your personality and if it makes you kind of like a better person or just better in general. And it is kind of interesting. I feel like people love to get to know themselves. Like, for example, people love to take personality tests like Enneagram or the other one, the INFJ, whatever like it's called. I don't remember what it's called, but people like to take those type of tests to get to know them better. Even people read astrology for fun because they want to know what type of personality or characters that they have because of the time that they were born. So I feel like this one may be a little bit more science-based and just sounds kind of interesting, and I would definitely read them probably in the future. Like I said, I have another copy of this already, so I'm gonna pass this off, and hopefully someone who's interested in, you know, science-based personality change type of thing would pick this book up. I feel like I have quite a few books that I am going to unhaul next week when I'm in Phoenix. I am so excited. Like I said, I will try my best to actually vlog before I go into the bookstores and show you how many books I'm trying to unhaul and that I'm trying to sell to the bookstore, and then see how much I can get from them. I feel like it's gonna be a fun vlog, so if you wanna see what that will look like, make sure to subscribe to my channel, and I guess I will see you next time. Bye!